Welcome. Welcome, Cleveland. Welcome, StockX. Welcome to Creativity Through Sport. I'm your host, Jamal Jimoh. Next to me, I have Nigel Sylvester, BMX biker, model. Is model a part of it? Model, sneaker aficionado, Queen's very own. And then next to him, I have Miss Briana King, an actual model. She gets paid for it. She doesn't do it recreationally like Nigel does. And brand partner for countless companies, including Jordan, and as evidenced by what's on her feet, Nike. And I just say that because I'm very jealous, because I asked for a pair as well, and I didn't get them. Yeah, shout out to StockX. I know my pair is waiting in the back. Both Nigel and Briana are incredible at what they do and have managed to maintain their specific lens through sport, through creativity, and have been uniquely and distinctly themselves throughout it all. So just really quickly, for everyone in attendance, give a little bit of background. Briana, let's start with you. Can you give some insight into you?
Check. I'm from Los Angeles. And yeah, I'm a skateboarder, I'm a model, but my thing is I'm a community organizer. I create safe spaces around the world for women, well, basically the non-traditional skateboarder. So I just create safe spaces and teach skateboarding.
So crucial and so needed. Thank you. And Mr. Sylvester, a little bit of a background.
Right. Can you guys hear me? It's good? Cool. So I'm originally from New York City, born and bred. Professional BMX athlete, been riding my whole entire life. And I'm here to say chat with you guys. I'm sure throughout this conversation we'll learn more about me and what I do.
Nigel didn't do the homework. He was supposed to prepare a quick 2 sentences on who he is, and he didn't do that. He lets the work speak for him, which I respect. Thank you both for being here. Braving the cold. You both took unconventional paths to your careers. Can you tell us about that and how it shaped what you do now, kind of what your journey has been and how it informs what you will do moving forward?
You want to go first?
Yeah, well, I'm not the typical skateboarder, so I had to figure out a way that I can make this my job because it was my passion. So I just had no other approach but to do it through what I'm doing now.
And we don't see many, if any, that look like you in skateboard. What brought you to skateboarding?
I grew up in LA and I always wanted to be a skateboarder, but I'd get into skateboarding and then I'd get bullied out of it just for being a girl. And then I tried skateboarding again and then I get bullied out of it because it's like a white person's sport. And finally, when I moved to New York, there was a group of girls there, a bunch of black girls that were skateboarding, and I finally found a place where I felt comfortable, and I was like, okay, I need to create this space for everybody else so they feel how I felt in that moment where I just finally belonged.
So community's been important in you finding a space in skateboarding, and now it's important that you foster community.
No way I would have ended up here without my community.
Nigel, how has community influenced you, your work, and what do you do to impart community into all that you do?
I mean, community is a huge part of what I do, right? And where I'm at now in my career, my focus is to invest into my community as much as they invest into me. And something we recently did, we started the Nigel Sylvester Foundation. And that's focused on just supporting the community, inclusion, diversity in the bicycle industry, and just supporting kids who may not have access to bicycles, right? You'd be surprised how many kids you see or in neighborhoods, right? And maybe a few blocks away from Central Park or different parks or different metropolitan areas who don't have access to bicycles. So we just want to support those communities, support those kids.
How would you, outside of community, as singular beings, how would you define yourself and what you do?
Wow, I feel like I'm still defining myself, right? Where I've been riding BMX professionally for over 15 years, and that journey is constantly evolving and progressing. So I'm still figuring that out. But I would say like my morals are super important to me, you know, God and family first, and making sure that I create from a place that's authentic to me, a place that's natural, always.
Briana, same question.
I forgot the question.
Right.
How,
Love that.
Honest answer. I appreciate it. How would you define yourself? And like separate from community, how would you define yourself? And what's important to you? Kind of what are your tenets and beliefs?
I feel like majority of my life was lonely, so I didn't feel like I knew who I was without community. So I'm like at the point where all I'm thinking about all day long, or what I'm feeling when I'm feeling love, is because of my community. So I can't really define myself outside of that because it's my entire life right now, and I found myself like within that. So I'm getting to the point where I'm just gonna like figure out where I'm at on my own, but they're my everything. They're like my rock, they're my family.
So you'd say community defines you?
Yeah.
Nigel, how have you used your passion? Like, how have you used your bike and just that drive to build a business?
Well, so passion is one of those things that we usually put the majority of our time into, right? Like, we love it, we wake up, we think about it, we go to sleep thinking about it. And for me, a very pivotal moment in my life was when I turned pro, right? Like, up until that point, I was riding bicycles solely because like I love it, right? And like that love will never die. But at that point where I turned pro, it became a different type of transaction where I started to get paid for what I was doing. And that moment where I realized, oh, I can do this for the rest of my life and create a career out of this, and it'd be like my livelihood, everything switched for me. And I wanted to make sure that I approached the business side of what I'm doing with the same intensity that I approach just bike riding.
And what was the specific switch that took you from amateur to pro? Like, was it just getting a sponsor, or what was that?
So pretty much just like most sports, like you're doing your thing, you start bubbling on an amateur level, and then you get opportunity to go like professional, where you're operating at an optimal level, and brands want to partner with you. Like, they believe that you can push their agenda forward, as well as pushing like your own agenda forward. So that was the moment where I went from an amateur bike rider to a pro bike rider, and I was 18 years old. So I was a kid, so life changed for me instantly, right? I got sponsored by a company called Miracle Bikes, which was owned and operated by the late, great Dave Mirra, who's like the godfather to like this BMX industry and culture. Then I got sponsored by Nike around the same time. So me being a kid growing up in Queens, riding my bicycle, like grinding and hustling, and then having these two massive brands like co-sign me and then give me the opportunity to travel the world and create my own product, things of that nature, it was life-changing. And I understood I needed to invest into the opportunity, into that moment, just as much as I invested into the tricks I was doing on my bike.
Thank you. Ms. King, tell me about Display Only. What is it, and what drove you to start it?
Display Only is my brand. What is it? It's just a collective of non-traditional skateboarders.
If I can really quickly,
Yeah.
It's not just a collective. Don't ever minimize your work. It's a collective. Take just out of it, because you're doing phenomenal work. That's right. Speak life into it.
Right.
It's a collective of non-traditional skateboarders, a bunch of women, queer, trans skateboarders that are just never accepted, and we go around the world and we bring boards to them, we bring clothes to them, and just any sort of resource you need in skateboarding, we provide it around the entire world.
It's amazing.
And you were going to minimize that. You were saying just,
It
that's
just feels
monumental
so
work.
crazy. It just feels so crazy that I just can't believe it sometimes. So it's hard to like hype myself up sometimes because it just doesn't even feel real, and it's just so amazing.
It's crazy because it is real. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. This is for both of you. Taking your wildest dreams and where you thought you would be, certainly the wildest of them being sitting up here with me right now, asking you questions in 20-degree weather and a snowstorm. Like, I know that's beyond the wildest dreams. How are your wildest dreams measure up to where you are right now in life and what you're doing? I'd like for you both to answer that. And Nigel, you're being volunteered to go first.
I mean, this shit is way more lit. I mean, I knew it would be popping, but no, It's seriously like a dream come true. You know, a lot of the things that I fantasized about when I was a kid, seeing those things come to life, and then watching those things evolve into something greater. You know, getting an opportunity to work with incredible brands, ride my bicycle around the world, give back to my community. You know, see how the work that I'm doing is affecting people around the world in a positive way. No, it's incredible, man. I wouldn't have it any other way.
You know where we're from. I'm giving you a little bit more time to think of your answer because you push it off. You know where we're from.
I can't even think of these moments. Like, I'm just so inspired, especially by Nigel. So I'm just like, he's sitting here just like taking it all in. I'm not even thinking about myself or like what I'm going to say next. I'm just like, wow.
You better think about
yes.
yourself. Everybody over here is thinking
come
about
out,
you.
it's
So
gonna
you
come
got
For you.
Same question for you.
Yeah, just my dream growing up was just, honestly just to be happy. Just like growing up like in the hood is just like, wow, this life is just really difficult, and all I ever strived for was to be happy. And I can't believe like I'm at the point where I'm creating so much more happiness for everyone else around me, and it just brings me more happiness. And I just had no clue that I could possibly like feel this happy or feel this good. So my dreams are really small, and it's surpassed that by too much.
Amazing. Amazing. Obviously, journeys are very much kind of, they're defined by two specific points. They're the highs and the lows. So we know, and I feel like the highs are always put on display for all to see. What have been some of the low points in your respective journeys, and how did you bounce back from them?
My thing online is that I do share my highs and my lows. So obviously getting a bad injury, I'm modeling on set for Prada, skating in
Subtle. Oh
Right.
my God. So,
you know,
for who? Sorry, you were modeling. I don't know if everybody caught it. You were modeling for.
Prada,
Oh,
you
okay.
know,
Just
you
making
already
sure.
know.
Right.
And, you know, in that moment, just skating in ridiculous things and breaking my leg, you know, and just losing everything. And that low point where you're like, wow, if I hurt my body, I can lose everything in my life. And I think at my lowest part, I found the highest part. It's like, I'm much more than just my body. Like, I'm still getting work, I'm still doing this, I'm still inspiring people. So every time I'm just at my low, I always find a beautiful place, and I'm always super grateful for the down parts.
So gratitude is your bounce back?
Yeah.
Right.
Mr. Sylvester, same question.
Yeah, it's very similar for me as well. You know, like showcasing all the amazing things that happen, but also giving people the real, right? So recently I posted something on my Instagram, and I was trying this trick out in LA, and I didn't land it. And I was like, man, I feel it's very important for me to share this part of the process with people. And like the feedback was incredible, right? Like people hit me up, man, like it was so dope to see you struggle through that moment, to see that side of it, because that side exists. You know, like we'll be out there riding a rail or a ledge and you fall down, you know, and you scrape like your shin, or God forbid you break something, or whatever the case is, but it's how you deal with that. And throughout my career, I've definitely had those moments where I've dealt with injuries due to like bike riding, but also on like the business side where like you may be trying to execute a deal or a partnership and it doesn't work. It's something you're really looking forward to, and learning how to develop that side of your business as well, because it comes with those same highs and lows, you know. So just across the board, dealing with adversity and understanding how to pull strength from it, and like how you grow and how you learn valuable lessons that only make you better.
You used a very key word, and that was process.
Right.
So I'd like to get into a bit of both of your respective processes now. How do each of you express your creativity as an athlete?
Style, clothes. Yeah, my creativity just, when you don't have a lot growing up, you just really respect like your entire being, I feel. Just like in my head, I always say like my body is my drip. Like I don't really need any of these other things, but obviously I like it. But that's how I express my creativity, is just through the drip.
Right. Get fresh.
Only one of us has changed our shoes since we got to set, so
Exactly.
that's a very She changed like Mr. Rogers. She walked up, she had a fresh pair waiting for her. So that is absolutely, you're holding true to it.
Oh, same question? So I'm super hands-on in every part of my career. So I'm able to inject my creativity through bike riding, whether I'm outside on a rail or a ledge or a staircase and I'm just out doing my thing, through the content that we create, you know, whether it's a pure riding video, whether it's more of a stylized video, whether it's a travel doc, whatever the case is, and then through the business side of it as well. You know, like we've been able to, in a sense, create a new blueprint for how a BMX athlete or just an alternative sport athlete can go about building their brand. And
is that how Go came about? Is that a combination of all of those pieces?
It definitely was. You know, like Go was a platform that I was able to bring every part of my life into. And for those of you who don't know what Go is, it's a travel series that I do. And the premise was to ride my bicycle around the globe. So starting in Queens, New York, and legit ride around different cities and countries around the world. So we've done New York, we've done videos in LA, Tokyo, Dubai, London, Paris, Miami, and most recently Las Vegas. So we're almost, if you think about that journey from east to west, we're almost back to New York. So yeah, just having that platform and being able to showcase how I ride, where I'm riding, the people in my life, my family, different brand partnerships, and just my overall creative expression. It's been an amazing opportunity.
Briana, do you remember your first creative project and what doors or how it opened doors for you?
Yeah, it was actually with Nigel on my first campaign for Jordan. And it just, I'd have always been a model, and I was just kind of just standing in place all the time and not really thinking about the person that I am. But I remember that day and being there as a skateboarder and them caring about like what I want happening. They cared about the creative direction, and just in that moment, it just made me feel like I am important, you know, and it's just like my opinion matters. And yeah, obviously it was amazing because I'm working with Jordan, but it was just really important for everyone there to just let me know how important I am, and they care about what's happening inside of my brain in the creative process.
Yes.
Nigel, can you give us some insight into your creative and collaborative process with brands like Jordan and Levi's?
Right. I mean, those two brands, especially, man, like brands I grew up around, like most of us grew up with Jordan and Levi's, you know? So having the opportunity to collaborate with those brands, like I want to show up every single time. You know, I want to make sure that we're telling impactful stories, that the product is connecting to the community. And that's a true representation of who I am and who the brand is, you know? So most recently, even signing with Jordan has been like a dream come true. You know, like coming from where you said earlier, from where we from, you know, from Queens, New York. Grew up riding my bike in the hood, you know, like with this idea and this dream of one day living the life that I'm living now. So again, it's just important I represent that, and I don't ever forget that.
And I feel like that, like remaining true to you is such an important part that informs those partnerships. Briana, how do you choose which brands are right for you to partner with?
Whoever makes me feel comfortable before signing anything, and there's never like, okay, I'm gonna sign an email or I'm gonna text. We always meet in person, or we go through a Zoom call and just like talk continuously over months and weeks. And if I feel comfortable with these people, this is people that I want to work with. I don't ever want to work with people where I feel like I cannot be friends with them. There was like, I've been modeling since 2010, and I always have like one-off clients, and I just don't want to do that anymore. I want to build friendships with every brand that I'm working with. So like StockX, they're always like checking on me. Like we were friends before anything, and we're just still friends now. So yeah, it's really important. Like I was saying, community is really important, and I need that to happen through my brand partnerships also.
With so much happening for both of you, how do you choose where to direct your creative energy? Just, I feel like with so many kind of irons in the fire at once, it can get difficult and can dilute it. How do you choose what properly gets that attention?
But I feel like that's what also where it comes in, like who you choose to work with, it's gonna be easy. They care about like your creative process. It's like I hate to say StockX a million times. They're just like, okay, this is what we need from you, and do whatever you want. So it's never like, ooh, where am I gonna focus on next, or like, where am I gonna put my energy? It's already what's happening in my life, my day to day, and they just so happen to be popped in like into the next thing that's happening. But everyone that I'm working with currently, I'm already rocking. I'm already just doing it in my everyday life. So it's not like I don't have enough energy to do all of these things. I already had the energy, and they just like come in with me.
Right. Yeah, like I'm extremely selective, right? Like my process, I want to make sure that the brands and people and different artists, whoever I'm collaborating with, that we share like similar thoughts, we share similar approaches, you know, that our morals align. That's what's really important to me. And once that aligns, then that creative process comes easy because we're already on like the same page, you know. I want to work with people who aren't afraid to take risks, who aren't afraid to push the bar. Because I've built my entire like career on that, on taking risks, on being disruptive, and like not being afraid. So everyone who I work with now, like the different brand partners or people I'll collaborate with, we have similar mindsets.
And for both of you, with such a broad scope of work from everybody from Levi's and Jordan to Prada.
Prada, can't forget that. Can't forget that.
She said it so humbly, like she was, you know, I just did this little thing with Prada.
Right.
Might be difficult to pick, but what's been your favorite brand collaboration or favorite partnership? Like if you had to pick one without upsetting nobody and messing up no money. Just look, it had to be one hot seat question. I gave you enough time to get comfortable. If you have to pick a favorite, and you do because, let's be honest, there are cameras rolling, who's your favorite, or who's been your favorite thus far? Briana, go first. You giggling, so now you got to go first.
Can I choose two or like 1.5?
You can choose one. You can choose two. We'll give you two.
Obviously, StockX. They're my family, and I always feel like if I'm down about anything and it's not even related to work, I can call them and let them know. And that's been the most important thing in my life is love. And I need a lot of love, so I can give a lot of love, and they give it to me. And Dior, like I've been working
Wait. You're not just finna drop fashion houses so casually. I mean, I love StockX too, but you just going, right. Dior was your number 2?
Yeah, Dior's my number 2, definitely.
StockX, we got to do more work together. I don't know, your background check is coming back stellar. Please tell us a little bit about Dior.
Yeah, Dior, again, when we're shooting, they let me pick locations, they let me pick my clothes, they let me pick who's shooting, they just really love my vibe, and again, they make me feel loved, and it's just really important to me to make me feel like I am a creative, like I am art, and they do a really good job to make me feel like my entire existence is art.
And it is, and that's beautiful.
Right.
Nigel, same question.
What's the question again?
You can't skate it. Yeah, I see that. I won't let you, so there's that. Your favorite collaborator or creative partner of the many that you have.
Wow.
And you know what? Just in being fair, you can also pick 2.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna pick a brand. I'm gonna shout out my boy Ralphie, who's like one of my main creative partners. You know, like we've created different projects, videos, photos, concepts, whatever it may be around the world, you know, and that's what's super important to me. You know, like have amazing brand partners, right? And those opportunities come and go, but I feel like people that are actually in your corner, that you get to create with on a daily basis, those are the ones that like really, really matter. So shout out to my boy Life. You know what I mean?
And he just picked one. Some of us listen to the assignment, Briana, no pressure. He just had his one. Thank you both. What does the future hold or what do you hope the future holds for each of you?
Last night, okay, I've already watched your videos a million times, but last night, like in that moment, I actually felt like I was you, you know, like during Go, and I was just like, wow, like I am Nigel right now. This is so fun. This is amazing. But I'd love to just like produce like better content like this dude right here. I just really really inspired. But like, I love YouTube and just like seeing everything that's happening throughout the day. But yeah, that's what like people around want to see, and I want to do it for them, and I want to do it for myself.
Same question.
I mean, I just feel we need to collaborate, right? We need to just like sit down and cook something up. So one of the things in the future that I want to do is that we're gonna stamp it right here. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much. It meant a lot.
And I'll executive produce it for no less than 45%. I will gladly sign on for that. Beautiful that this moment was birthed. If StockX wants to pay for the content, right, we are looking for somebody to finance our creativity. So just putting that out there. You were mentioned as a favorite, no pressure. Nigel, what's your vision for the future of BMX and how are you shaping it?
Wow. BMX is still a young sport and it's still being molded, right? And when I think about the future of BMX, I just hope that it's able to create more opportunities for the kids coming up behind me. You know, there's so many young black kids who are in different hoods around the world who are nasty, you know, who are putting that work in. And I hope that the industry creates more platforms for those kids to shine. And for me personally, like, just doing my part, you know? Like, there's been so many people before me who have contributed to the growth of BMX, and I just want to follow that tradition and continue to push it as far as I possibly can. You know, having representation for BMX on this stage right now is incredible, you know, and I hope that we can continue things like this. I hope that brands like StockX can continue to invest into bicycle culture.
Briana, what does the future of skate hold for women of color? Better still, what does the future of skate and the future of sport as a whole, what do you see it holding for women of color?
There's only progression, you know. HBO's picked up shows on black women in skateboarding. Even my sponsors just supporting other people in my community, a lot of black women or a lot of black non-traditional skateboarders. But yeah, I just see it as a growing sport. It was just in the Olympics. So people are gonna take skateboarding a lot more serious. And I don't know, I don't even know. Honestly, sometimes I just don't even care. All I'm focused on is just like building a safe space for people to feel comfortable skateboarding, you know? Like, I don't care, like, honestly, about the Olympics or being like the best skateboarder in the world. I just want everyone to find love, and it just so happened to find love through skateboarding.
Beautiful. What advice do each of you have for any young person that's looking to find their way in your respective sports, in skateboarding and BMX, or in sport period? If they're trying to build their brand, what advice could you offer them?
My advice is be nice to everybody. Don't navigate to a certain type of person because they look like you or act like you. You have to just talk to everyone. That has been the most important thing to me, was just talking to everyone, saying hello to everyone. Everybody's gonna teach you something new. Like, that's why old people are mad dope, because they've been talking to niggas for so long.
Right. Love that.
I do love that. I mean, look, sometimes you gotta check people, but
right.
Being nice is key.
Definitely. I feel like, just to piggyback on like the point you just made, being open to get that advice from people who have been in the industry or whatever industry you're trying to pursue, right? Being open to having conversations with them, but also following your heart. You know, I think life's about balance, and you have to balance your approach through getting information from those who've been doing it before you, through following your heart and making sure you stay true to yourself, and love what you do. You know what I mean? Like, I move with love, man. And I've heard you use the word love several times, and like, I think that's amazing. I feel like through that love, you're able to accomplish the things you want to accomplish.
Saving the most difficult question for last. You only get one answer to this one. You don't get two, Briana. One answer for this one. what's one pair of kicks that you're coveting right now? Just like one holy grail pair. I know it's difficult because y'all got everything. But what's one pair, if you just like, that you want that you haven't gotten?
Okay, I feel like I already have everything I could possibly have when it comes to shoes. But as a skateboarder, all of my shoes are done within 4 weeks. So even my most favorite pair of shoes come to an end. So Chicago to LA, I probably have had them 3 times and I need them 4, 5, 20 million times. But that is my shoe that I want forever, and I would stock my whole closet with it.
Right. I mean, I'm looking forward to this next pair of all-white Air Force One lows, man. They're always sold out. So I'm buying them a few times a week. And, you know, so just looking forward to that.
That 10% price increase got everybody.
You know how it be.
If you wore 13, I'd have you, man. I'd send a pair your way.
Stocked up?
Oh, man, you know, come on, man. I live in LA, but I'm still New York.
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Thank you both for taking the time, for sharing your journey and your insights. Thank you all for joining us. Please, let's give a hand for Briana King and Nigel Sylvester.